Welcome to another. Wait, no.
Wait till the go.
Oh,
It's no blood, no foul. 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 Emotions spill on the court when you proud. To rep your city, New York's the hometown. Playgrounds.
hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of No Blood, No Foul podcast brought to you by Real GM. I am Mukal. I'm stepping in for Slice tonight as your host. I'm joined by Coke and Kyle, who's stepping in as we're shorthanded tonight, much like the Knicks appear to have been. Well, it finally happened. Knicks fans got their wish. Elfrid Payton did not start the game. Tibbs apparently rewarded the great play of Rose and Taj by starting them. Looks like it really didn't matter. Ultimately, the Knicks came out very flat. Other than Rose, nothing was clicking for the Knicks pretty much for the first half of the first quarter. The Knicks did go on a run thanks to Rose and a three-pointer by Julius to close out the first, up ahead 31-29. From then, that was pretty much downhill, folks. Nothing was working for the Knicks other than Rose. Sometimes Rose was going on one, looked like he was going 1-on-5. Tell you what, guys, we normally would have a long breakdown of the game, but it was just a really sucky, awful game by the Knicks. I think they ended up shooting 28% in the second quarter and like 36% overall. Our two top scorers combined for 19 points. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Hawks just had control the whole game. Really from that 20, I think they did a 23-4 run to close out near in the second quarter, and that was pretty much it. The game was over. The Knicks never regained control. The score was not as close as it seemed, as the Hawks won 105-94. I mean, it really felt like they were down by 20 for pretty much three quarters of the game. So that is, wow. I'm kind of a loss for words. Coke, what's your take?
Well, kudos for Tibbs. Everyone said this guy's, stubborn coach. Didn't want to bench Elfrid. Finally, did it. Didn't really matter tonight. I don't know, man. He tried to make some adjustments. He put Taj in there. I know Noel's probably hurting a bit. Just trying to infuse some energy and some stellar play into the first quarter with the starting lineup, because we've been getting off to slow starts. But at this point, I don't really know what the Knicks need. It's looking ugly, man. It's just looking ugly, man. I'm at a loss for words. This is 3 games in a row now that the team comes out in the first quarter, even with the personnel change, and they can't buy a bucket, and they're digging themselves a hole. They did it the first game. Everyone thought it was just, playoff jitters. Second game, more of the same. Now this is 3 games in a row. This is a trend. This is not the anomaly. This is not jitters. The Hawks are scheming us to death. We're having major trouble getting into our rhythm and getting into any kind of offensive flow. I got to big up Nate McMillan. This is a guy, hard-nosed coach, a lot of substance, not a lot of flash, but he just seems to get the job done with whatever team that he's given, year in, year out. People say he's in that Tibbs mold, but he's kind of out coaching Tibbs, because, the Knicks had the Hawks number during the regular season, especially Randle. He was straight boying John Collins. And our first 3 games, Randall's doing absolutely nothing. I mean, we should have that dude on the back of a milk carton. We should have an Amber Alert out for that dude. Real talk. And, like I said, I don't really know what the Knicks need, man. At this point, they need to all shave their head, get rid of the braids, everybody. All shave your heads, wear some black socks like the '90s Knicks did when they were trying to gain some camaraderie and some unison, because they need
That's
help
right.
bad.
That worked. Houston, Spree, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think it was only Starks and Ewan who refused to do it. Maybe this team needs to do that, but they need something, because look, if they don't get this thing together fast, it's going to be golfing instead of playing in the second round. I know, in a lot of the previous podcasts we were doing, we were almost talking as if the second round was a given. I think we slept on the Hawks, man. since Nate took over. That's a way better, well-coached team. They defend now. They're killing us with the three ball. I mean, what? They shot 59% from three, which is ridiculous. Meanwhile, we shot 30% from three. So, that's the ball game right there. And I said last podcast in my final thoughts, I said the key for us is that we're going to need to hit the three ball, because for us to have our offensive working and to beat good teams, we got to knock down our shots. We were top 3 in the league in three-point percentage. We haven't seen that in the playoffs, man. I keep saying this. I've been saying it in threads. Playoffs is a whole different animal than regular season basketball. There's not no scrubs to beat up on. Every team is a good team. And then on top of it, people are going to turn up the notch and the intensity. They're not going to take any plays off, not going to take any games off. So the Knicks are finding that out the hard way, especially Julius Randle. Kyle, give me your thoughts, bro.
Hi. So, hello everybody. I'm on camera again for the first time in a while. Only because, Slice and Jim had to go bail on us. They were scared at the night, I guess.
They knew.
Smart.
They knew, yeah. So, first off, Coke, let me ask you a question. The Knicks need Jesus. I hear he was extremely talented, cut down in his prime, only 33 years old. But in reality, what we're seeing is that we're just not bringing it, and a lot of our guys aren't. Randle, most improved player. When my buddy was texting me today, he said, Randle is not getting that max contract money anymore. And I said, yeah, he went from most improved to most regressed like that. So when Randle's giving you nothing, RJ's giving you nothing, the whole team gave you nothing except Derrick Rose. At one point, Derrick Rose had 11 field goals made, and the rest of the team had 12 combined. Only one other player scored more than 2 field goals. That was Reggie Bullock, and that didn't happen until there was 2 minutes left in the game. So it's just at the point where if you have a night like tonight, Rose can't do it all by himself anymore. He's not that good anymore. What the Knicks are missing is we're missing that guy. We're seeing what Trae Young can do. He can score at all 3 levels. He can, facilitate. We don't have that kind of guy that can just... We have a kind of in Randle, but the difference is Randle's doesn't have the ability to create off the dribble like Trae Young does. So that's just what we're missing from the offense. And then defensively, we just couldn't guard him at all. We have no one person that can stay in front of him, and that's not really saying much because I don't think there are many point guards who can stay in front of Trae. But you can kind of contain him a little bit, and we couldn't even do that tonight. We were throwing 3 guys at him, and of course, what happens then? He passes it around, and wide open threes. So, I know, we just did not play a good game tonight. We need guys to step up. The whole team, other than Derrick Rose. And Coke, I want to kick it back to you because you said something. You said something in our Discord during the game, I think, where you said you didn't like Rose starting because then the bench lacks punch. I'm going to disagree with that because I don't think the issue is the bench lacking punch. I think the issue is that D Rose is the only punch.
Yeah.
So no matter where you put him, someone's going to be missing that punch.
I tell you, the biggest problem for me for this game was I don't know how many times can the Hawks run that basic pick and roll and for the Knicks to be unprepared. It seems like every time down the court, all you have to do is send Capella, set a pick, and whoever whoever gets picked, it is his man is going to the basket. I don't understand why the Knicks can't seem to figure that out. And given that Capella is a very good pick setter, still it's really puzzling and troubling that they have and that's something they've had problems the whole season, right? With guys like that. That's why they have problems with really quick guards that can go to the basket. But they're getting exposed, I think, right now. This entire game was basically a pick and roll feast by the Hawks. And the Knicks are always leaving someone open. I think that's really the big killer, and that kind of sucked the life out of just about everybody except for Derrick Rose. Nobody else was not even Taj, right? Taj was off. He was kind of it's so non-existent, non-impactful. They had to bring in Nerlens, who he blocked shots again. But when you look at and compare guys like Capella to a guy like Noel, I think we see what the Knicks need. It's something that I've said really from the start. The Knicks' two biggest needs this offseason is they need a top tier or near tier point guard. It's not a knock on Randle. It's really just the reality of it, right? Randle cannot be the guy to create shots off the dribble, especially in the playoffs. He just can't. That's not his game. He's good. He's not great, and you need great when the playoff starts. The other thing they need is they need somebody to intimidate shots. The Hawks were going to the basket open looks, pretty much regularly the whole game. And that's something that can happen, right? Taj did a good job in game 2. He couldn't do anything in game 3. Nerlens is, he'll block shots, he'll chase, but he just doesn't have the body for it. So I think, those are the two things that really killed the Knicks tonight. I mean, you can see it, right? You see it on the other side with the Trae Young and Clint Capella, tandem. They basically picked apart the Knicks. That's
So,
my big take on this.
so Moo, are we already at the point where we're just saying, forget the rest of the series? We're already looking forward to the offseason.
I don't know.
What we need to
I
do.
don't want to.
No, it's too early for that, man. It's too early for that.
No. I mean, the Knicks have shown, right? They'll come back, but
We're only down 2-1, man. I mean,
we are.
if we win next game, we tie it up, and then if we win at home, we got home court
Sure,
advantage back.
sure.
Oh no, this is nothing, man.
Yeah.
This is nothing.
Yeah.
But it's not looking good. But it's
Not
way
looking
too
good.
early to start
Correct.
writing things off.
Correct.
But I want to talk about edge a little bit
Mhm.
because I feel like the Knicks lack it. I saw it. I didn't speak on it, but I saw it before the series ever started. Like the Hawks, they were angry. They were talking mad. Like they didn't like the fact Knicks were getting all the pub. They didn't like the fact that the word on the street is that the NBA wants New York in the playoffs. They didn't like the fact that they were being talked at as an afterthought, even though they had pretty much the same record, same type of season, same deep lineup. So the Hawks were mad, man, and I didn't get that sense from the Knicks. They were going into the series kind of feeling themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like
Maybe
I don't want to
looking
say
forward
happy to
the
be
next
there.
series. Yeah.
I don't know if it was looking past them or just happy to be there, or they just didn't have an edge, man. Even in interviews, they weren't talking feisty. The Hawks were talking feisty from the start. That's one thing I wanted to point out. Another thing I want to point out. All right, let's talk about defense, man. Like something that was the Knicks, identity all year, the calling card all year. Where's the D, bro? Like they haven't been playing no D this series. Like, what are they doing out there? Like Moose said, they can't guard a simple pick and roll. They've been spammed with pick and roll to death, and they can't adjust. And I don't put that on coaching because I know Tibbs is always prepared. I put that on the players. Like you're facing the same team over and over again, right? You know what they're trying to do. You know what sets they're going to run. The coaching staff, I'm sure they have the team prepared in that regard. But I just think it's a lack of principles and sticking to the game plan. Because at the end of the day, Capella can only hurt you one way, and that's vertical spacing. Okay, he can't shoot. He can't put the ball on the floor. Just keep a body on a dude. Like you can't catch an alley if somebody is like pretty much boxing you out. Even on the offense. So that's what they got to do. Treat it like a box out. Just glue to that dude. You know what I'm saying? So why is he still getting enough space to go up in the air over the top of dudes? It's just ridiculous. We've seen teams adjust to Mitch when he was killing him like that to neutralize him. Use the same strategy against Capella. Back to Trae. I mean, damn, this is supposed to be a top 3 defense in the league, and we can't stop this little pipsqueak. Like if you can't keep him from breaking you down, start fouling this dude. Give him something to think about. Like make the series an ugly dogfight. That's what you got to do. They playing pretty basketball right now. They drawing in your face, shooting all over the place.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Gallo, Herter, what's the third guy? Gallo, Herter, I'm forgetting
Bogdanovich.
these names. Bogdanovich. I'm mad, so I'm just losing my my scruples. But they just got these dudes popping threes all over the place, untouched. Hurt somebody. I don't want to say hurt nobody. All right, I'm getting too New York. But make it a dogfight, man. Make it an ugly series, and that's how we played all year. And we got to get back to that, man. You letting this dude Trae prance around, throwing up pretty floaters, talking to the crowd, shushing and all this. Somebody's got to say enough, man.
Well, I think they're scared to foul him because like they're scared to touch him because like you see how many fouls he gets that are just like the regular season fouls. You know what I'm talking about? Like they give him fouls for all sorts of little things, and I get it because he's really tiny. You flick him and he goes flying across the court. But I think that's part of the issue is that it's just that they're kind of in that mode of, all right, preventing fouls is good defense, but they're also taking it too far to the point where they're just kind of letting him go off. I don't know. I think, I just don't really have that much to say.
Look, at some point you got to concede a couple points at the line to make a statement. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna give a little story. Back in the days, and I know it's a different era. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was this dude who was lighting me up from three. Okay, and my uncle was in the crowd. He pulls me over. He's like, "Look, stop letting this dude shoot." You know what I'm saying? Like, make him think about something. He said, "Make him think about something." So I didn't know what he meant at the time. So I was just like, you know what? Next time dude pulls up, I'm gonna just act like I'm going to block the shot, and I'm gonna rake him across his eyes. And that's exactly what I did. I couldn't stop the dude, but he stopped himself because he didn't want to shoot the ball after that point. So yeah, he made 3 free throws, but at the end of the day, he didn't want the ball in his hands no more because he didn't know what I was gonna do. And that's what I mean. Like, you gotta give people something to think about, even if it's a flagrant, even if somebody get ejected. So what? Next man up, but you gotta make a statement. And the statement has to be made that we're gonna turn this from pretty prancy Atlanta, Buckhead basketball to New York City gritty project basketball, and that's just what we got to do.
Cook's out here trying to play like mind games, as psych people out, psychologically scar these guys. I can't condone hurting people, but I think you do have a point there that you gotta you gotta make them think. Like, that's a big thing. I didn't watch Jordan, but I've watched a bunch of documentaries about it. I mean, when we talk about the Jordan rules, the whole thing was like, when the Pistons really got into him, you can't play that defense anymore. It made him kind of like second guess himself a bit before he went up, and that's what you gotta do. I'm not saying pull a Bill Laimbeer and clothesline the dude, but you gotta make him have, if you can. We talk about professional basketball.
Look, that's always been a part of basketball, though, man. Like, that's like, let's keep it real. Even if you listen to dudes like Clyde, he'll tell you Willis intimidated people. They didn't intimidate people just by scoring. It was with the physicality. So there's nothing wrong with it. Like, we're not saying injure guys and try to knock them out the series, but it's nothing wrong with giving them something to think about. Like, I got kids. My daughters play ball. I tell them the same thing. Somebody lighting you up, give a hard foul. Give us something to think about, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and it's about if when you're at that level, if there's even like a split second of hesitation, then you lose. That's the difference in it. So if you can make someone, just even for a fraction of a second pause, then that gives you an immense advantage over them. So, I agree with that. But to Gip's point in the chat, when he's talking about, setting up the lob, the reason why we don't really put bodies on guys is because if we do that, then we're out of position to contest his floater. And that's what sets up the lob.
You don't have,
and
But
then he says that the Knicks just have to hit their shots, which, fair point.
With the whole thing about floater versus the lob, I mean, which one is a higher percentage shot? The lob is, man. So I would want to concede the floater. You know what I'm saying? You want to contest the three, and you want to contest the lob. And if you're gonna concede anything, give up the floater. And that's what I mean. Like, you got to pick your poison. You can't.
But
can't give up everything. We're giving up everything right now.
They're giving up both. Is the problem? They can't pick. They can't decide which one they want to defend. Right? They're getting caught in the middle constantly right now. So you're not challenging the floater. You're not challenging the lob because you're kind of hesitating. So.
Mm-hmm. So Coke, hang on. So you're talking about forcing them to make a lower percentage attempt, right? That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Welcome to advanced analytics, baby. That's how bad the series has been. That we even got Coke learning how the sabermetrics work.
It's also eye test, right? You can tell which shots are the easy one. It's the one 5 inches away from the basket.
Thing is this, man. The eye test never is the be all end all. Just like analytics isn't the be all end all. Basketball has always been a little bit of both. People just starting to get a little too crazy, and that's where you and I get at the opposite ends of the spectrum. But I do respect it on certain levels. But back to watching the game and seeing how we're defending things different than we have all season. We all know that we didn't really give up a ton of corner threes. It was like wing threes, but we're starting to get punished from the corner a lot. Series,
Yep.
and that just speaks on the poor rotations. And that's why I said the principles aren't there. They're not being disciplined. And I think it's what I can't remember if Kyle, you said it or Moose said it, but it's the hesitancy. You're getting caught in between, and now you're scrambling, and now you're out of position to rotate, and that's what's killing us.
So can I just say to go on that? I've noticed a lot of people complain about RJ's defense, specifically his off-ball defense, because it's always his guy that gets the corner threes, and he's always not in position to contest. I think that's our defensive scheme. I think that we're intentionally having our wings, just come in deep to the paint to tag the roller, because our guards can't defend the pick and roll, and outside of Taj, our bigs can't really do it either, and even sometimes with Taj, he's a little old, so we're kind of over helping to the point where we're giving up those open threes, especially against a great offense like Atlanta. When you have Trae Young, you have that offensive that lob threat. So I think that's part of the issue, is that we're helping too much. Our wings are helping too much on the pick and roll, and that's leading to open threes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it works into, we said from the start that for a great defensive team, the Knicks really don't have a lot of great individual defenders. So they have to actually work at it. For their defense to work, they have to be constantly on. They can't take plays off, right? They don't have the lengthy guys that can cover ground quickly. I mean, that's what Barrett's problem is, that he's a strong dude. He is not quick of foot, and he doesn't really have a lot of length. So he's got to work it. And I think his role is on defense is probably a difficult one than some of the other guys. But that's the reality. This team needs, for them to be a good defensive team, they have to be constantly on. They cannot take any plays off. They cannot hesitate. They need to. That's why you see, when they turn games around is when they all pick up the intensity. They have to do that 48 minutes the whole game. Right? They can't take, a quarter off, half a quarter off, because they don't have the offense to match it. Right. So I think tonight, the Hawks, you have to give them credit. They were playing great defense. Right, they were in players' faces. They were challenging threes, and they were doubling Randle. Right, it looks like when they started the game, they'll give Rose his points. Right, up until the second half when they started doubling Rose, and because Randle was still doing nothing. But I think that's been part of the problem with the Knicks, is that for them to win, especially in the playoffs, when teams get fired up, you need to be defending 48 minutes, and they just weren't doing that, and that's really why the Hawks went on that run. And that was the game, right? Because they don't have the offense to be able to catch up. I want to ask you guys something. What about, we've talked about, and it's been talked about a lot, that you have to put pressure on Trae when he's on defense. Right. That didn't happen at all tonight.
No, it didn't. And I'm gonna tell you why, though. Right, first of all, the pressure should be coming from the guy on offense who he's guarding, and you can see at the point of attack they're not using Trae. You started Rose. Rose was being picked up pretty much from the opposite ends foul line. Bogdanovich, a longer guy who just made it difficult for Rose just to get off the floor. That's going to eat about that's going to eat about 10 seconds off the clock. You're not going to get into your offense. It's going to be disrupted, and being that he's being pressured, you're getting the ball out of his hands early. But there's a lot of things going on beyond just casually watching the game. And that's why it's hard to go at Trae. They're pretty much hiding him. They're putting him on Bullock, who's a guy who really can't hurt you as a creator, off the dribble or anything like that. You can't post him up. You can't ISO him against Trae. So at the end of the day, you got a decision to make. Are you going to cut Bullock's minutes, and are you going to put Burks in there or IQ in there and allow them to go at Trae and make him work on both sides of the ball? Or do you want to do what some other people said, which is obey the synergy and the chemistry that Randle and Bullock has? Man, screw that, because Julius Randle is an imposter right now. That's not really Randall, that's Andal. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same dude. So I don't care as much about adhering to the chemistry between Bullock and Randall right now as much as I care about having multiple threats on the floor who could exploit Trey on defense.
So I'm gonna say I know Tibbs is never gonna do this, never in a million years. I think it's time we tried something new. I think we should try Randall at 5, especially if they're gonna run lineups where they don't have a center, because then we're running out Taj or Noel trying to cover Solomon Hill, and it's like, well, I mean, I know Solomon Hill isn't good, but he's still pulling him away from the rim, and he's a guy who you can pass out to, who you have to guard. He has to run to guard when he's taking a shot. So I think if we could try some Randall at the 5, and I'm gonna be even bolder and say RJ at the 4. I know MP was talking some weird stuff about having like Obi at the 3, and no, that's just not gonna work.
No.
I think you could do a lineup where you have Rose, Burks, Quickly, RJ, and Randall. I think you could at least try that, because you know what? I mean, other than Rose, none of those guys are doing anything on offense, but that might work in the right scenario. Not when Capel's in the game, because I don't think that's going to work then. But you could still try it. I think we need to try just something. And on that lineup, there's nobody Trey can guard. There was a lineup where I think we had Rose, RJ, Burks, Randall, and Taj in the first couple games. And that was a similar thing. It's like, who's Trey going to guard on there? Like, even though RJ has been off, even though, Burks is consistent, even though Taj isn't a great offensive player, he can't guard any of them, because that's a pretty easy bucket. So I think Tibbs needs to game plan around, hey, we need guys who can go after Trey, make him defend people. And you know what? That's basically how you do it against guys like Steph Curry. That's how the Cavs won in 2016. They forced Steph Curry to defend their guys on the perimeter. And it didn't work out for the Warriors. So I think that's a huge thing that we need to do, that I don't know how slow Tibbs is going to be to implement that change, if he does it at all.
Well, it took Tibbs the whole season to not start Alfred.
So. 84 games too long. No, sorry, 74. All right, my bad. It's my bad. 74 games too long.
Thing is, all right, I'm all for adjustments, right? You got to stick to your identity, and that's the thing. Like, you got to adjust, but not throw, mad scientists, lineups together. So, if you want to make Trey work, I'm all for that. Like, we know Burks has performed for us pretty much all year. IQ has had, tons of moments. Rose has been, the guy every time he's been playing and actually healthy. I would go to 3 guard lineups and use those guys to punish him, because he can't guard RJ, he can't guard Rose, he can't guard Burks. He might be able to guard Quickly a little bit, but he's still going to make him work, because Quickly, is a threat to shoot the 3 and go to the floater. And lately, he's been getting all the way to the rim and making a few layups. My problem with the small ball front court is Capella's already killing us. Taj is already too small. Noel is already too pooky. So then if you're putting Randall in there, he's a guy who's short and he doesn't have the length. At the same time, he's not really playing physical this series defensively. So I don't really know how that's really helping us. And then offensively...
See, here's the thing. That's why I said don't do it when Capella's in. Like, I was talking about when the Hawks went to their small ball lineup, where their tallest, where the biggest player was like Gallinari. Go to it then. Especially if Trey Young's there.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
If Capella's in the game, you got to have at least Taj out there. I mean, Noel, if Taj is tired, but, like, he's not as good as Taj.
Yeah. And in support of it, hold on, let me just throw this out there. In support of it, I do want to give Obi Toppin his flowers. Like, if there's ever a time that maybe if you're going to do it against benches, I'm all for it. And Obi probably deserves it at this point, because, to be honest, he's been our second best player, and that's not cap. That's real stuff, man. Like, Rose has been the most consistent guy this series. Obi's number 2. He's not wowing you with big numbers, but he's wowing you with big moments. You know what I'm saying? He's having a moment or 2 or 3 every single game. He's not being exploited defensively. He's playing tough. He's playing hard. You don't got to question, if his head's in the game, if his heart's in the game. I've had those kind of moments with Randall. Like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Like, he just doesn't seem there. Obi's locked in. So if we are gonna go with that smaller front court against benches, I'm all for it to get Obi a little more than, the 10, 11, 12 minutes he normally gets a game. I love the fact that he got extensive minutes in the fourth. Julius was playing like ass, so he sat on that ass.
That's reflected in Obi is number 2 in net rating in the 3 playoff games, only behind Quickly.
Facts.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I'll piggyback on that. And I actually think that they may want to think about playing Obi more instead of Barrett, especially when Randle's on the floor. I just the two of them, when Randle's not hitting and he's not in stride, I think they actually collide and they don't really work too well together. I think the one big benefit of Obi is that he's the only Nick, right? You just think about it. He's the only Nick that can actually finish above the rim, right? Honestly, seriously, if you think about, right, he's the only one that can finish. That means he's the only one that potentially can get Capella into some sort of foul trouble. And that would be a way to get Capella kind of a little off his game, because not only are we not putting pressure on Trey, we're not putting pressure on Capella either. Why? Because the Knicks, they don't have anybody that can actually attack the basket, right? What's happening right now? Anybody tries, Capella takes a couple of steps forward, they stop. Lob it.
Right. And that was supposed to be, wasn't that supposed to be Julius Randle's strength? I mean, getting downhill. He's got, he's got a strong body, get into guys, initiate. He's not doing that at all, man. It's like the dude, he playing scared. Off. Like, just because they walling up don't mean you got to concede to shoot jumpers. Like, we've seen other players do it. They initiate contact offensively and they still get the call. Julius needs to learn how to sell the contact, even if he initiates it. You can make it look like it's the defense when it's really you. All right.
I hate to use stuff like that. Oh, he's playing scared, but I absolutely agree. Watching him, I think sometimes guys use stuff like that. After they only say that if the guy misses. That's the thing that's happening sometimes, but no, I absolutely agree. Like when you watch how he plays, he's taking way too many jumpers. He's trying too much to be that, create off the dribble, but baseline fadeaway. Yeah, he's almost kind of forcing it. And
but he's forcing it not just offensively, even passing. It seems like he's got in his head that, right? Yeah, exactly. That his shot isn't going, so I have to pass.
It's panic passing. That's what I call it. Panic passing.
Yep.
So talking about passing, let me know if I'm kind of crazy on this one. This is going to be more of a positive note. RJ has sucked, objectively speaking, but when I watch, I think I'm seeing him make really good passes, like more than usual. Tell me you guys have seen that too.
He's just
ain't leaving no points.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's I wasn't gonna say that. I'm trying to be positive over here, man.
Yo, there was a point that I wanted to make earlier, and we kind of veered off. I just want to go back to that because I think it's pretty important. You guys were like highlighting the Hawks defense. I want to get more into like some of the the verbiage that we're using with these words to describe what's going on defensively. Like the Hawks, right? I kept talking about the Knicks aren't being disciplined. They're not sticking to their principles. Those are not just buzzwords. Like they actually mean something. So like when you watch the Hawks, right? They're putting long wings along the perimeter to stop penetration. And that's kind of what's deterring the Knicks from forcing the issue to drive, except for one dude. And he's the only dude with balls who's actually like turning it up. And that's Rose. Like Rose is not being deterred. He's just bursting by guys. And we're not seeing Randle do that. But anyway, I'm just talking about the principles here. The Hawks are sticking to those principles, even if, when the instances when Rose beats them, they don't over-rotate, they don't over-help, because the rule of thumb is, and I've been taught this since a kid, okay, you only cheat off your man as far as you can get back. So that's the issue that we're having with RJ. He's over-cheating. Now he's conceding the corner three because he's too far, he can't get back, the rotation's not there to cover him. And we're just giving up. Like, there's been threes hit this game where a guy could like count 3 seconds before someone came to contest the shot, which is sad. Yep. Wide open. 100%. So that's the problem. That's what I mean when I say They're not being disciplined and they're not sticking to their principles. The principles are don't overhelp. You know what I'm saying? Like you're supposed to help, but only as far as you can get back. The Knicks are not doing that, and the Hawks are, and that's pretty much the difference in the series. That's why the Hawks are getting a lot cleaner looks. And I mean, Doris Burke even said it during the game. She said it just looks like the Knicks are working a lot harder for the shots that they're getting, and the Hawks are getting clean, open shots.
Well, again, that just goes back to the whole point about we don't have that primary on-ball creator guy who can create for himself and his teammates. Randle's really struggling at that, and he just does not have that off-the-dribble package that you really need to be a number one option. So that just ties back to the whole thing. That's what we need if we're ever gonna take it to the next level.
Absolutely. Yeah. What we need is that we don't need just another shooter. Right? I know a lot of guys on the board keep saying, well, the Knicks are fine. They just need another shooter. No, they need more than another shooter. Right? They have shooters. They need someone so the shooters they do have can be comfortable in the roles that they should be performing. Right? You can't have, if Randle is off and he's shook, right? Barrett is, on and off, and you just got Rose. What that means that you got all these other guys that are bench guys that now have to take the secondary offensive role, tertiary offensive role. That's for starters. So when you get guys that are not comfortable and not suited for that particular role, that load, you're gonna have stuff like this, right? Because that's just not their game. So again, it definitely stresses that it's clear what the Knicks need this offseason. I don't want to, it's still a long series. They're only down 2-1. But it's been clear what they need. And other teams are using it. If you look all the way back, look at the playoffs. What's the formula? It's a top tier attacking guard and someone that can intimidate shots.
So Lou, I'm gonna assume that was a shot at Coke for wanting Lonzo in the offseason. I'm gonna assume that you're just saying you don't want Lonzo. You want Dennis Schroeder.
Trying to stir up stir the soup. You know what? The Knicks need to get better. Derrick Rose, I think he at this point in his career, he's the best as a sixth man. You really can't start him for the whole season. He said that. So you do need a guard, someone that can actually handle the ball. So Randle isn't the guy that's starting, right? You can't always give Randle the ball. I mean, maybe you can, right? The regular season's fine, but in the playoffs, especially if the plan is to move further in, where the teams get tougher and more talented than just the Hawks, you can't have Randle as the primary ball handler. That's just a pure fantasy. You need someone that can actually create shots for themselves easy shots. The Knicks, even in the regular season, they did look great, right? Better than anyone could expect. They struggled. How often in a game, you could probably count on one hand, easy baskets for the Knicks every single game. They win, right? Because they compete and they do whatever it takes. But at some point, that's just not enough. If the goal is to be like this team for the next 3 or 4 years, yeah, great. We just need another shooter. Now, if we're planning to take another step up, you need a top-tier shot creator. Lonzo is not a top-tier shot creator, but he is a facilitator. He makes this team better. So whether to stand pat and do nothing, or to add someone that can actually facilitate the ball, so Randle doesn't have to do it by himself, I think that's clear, right? So I do agree that Lonzo should be one of the targets. But there's a lot of things they could do. Lonzo should be one of them. Ideally, if they could find a better point, obviously, I don't think Coco will disagree that that's the better option, right? So, but they need something. Again, it's not giving up on the series, but it's been pretty clear. I mean, for me, it's been clear since day one, right? Even before the season. That's what they need.
I miss Slice. He was so much easier to get going.
Drunk Slice. Drunk
Slice. Just name Frank Scrubber tonight.
Man, to that point, about the whole Lonzo thing and, shooter versus shot creator, you got enough money. I don't think it's an either or scenario. I think we need both. You know what I'm saying? And what I like about Lonzo is, he's not a shot creator. He's not a guy who's going to collapse the paint. But, when you examine our needs, we need a shot creator and we need poise. Because if you look at Randle, when the games don't matter as much, he gets the assist. I'm sure Kyle, you're the guy, man, for the stats. So even if you can't do it tonight, come back with this shit next game. I'm sure in close games, his assist numbers are down. I'm willing to bet on that because I see when the going gets tough, this dude resorts to bad habits, and that's either ball hogging or panic passing. He doesn't play with poise. Most of the time, that we're saved by somebody else. Burks, Quickly, Rose, etc. It's never Randle. He's never making the game-winning pass or the game-winning play. He only knows he reverts to one thing, and that's ISO, and over dribbling and panic passing for a turnover when the going gets tough. So we need players who maintain their principles when in crunch time. Lonzo is a guy like that. Like he doesn't have an illusion of who he is as a player. He knows he's a top tier complimentary player. That's how I look at him. So if you bring him in, at point guard, but then you bring in another primary scorer, just you kill two birds with instead of one stone, two stones. You know what I'm saying? So we got the money. Let's just delegate it in the right areas and try to get what we have, man. But I don't want to talk too much about the offseason because I don't want to seem like I'm writing off the team yet.
And we're not writing off Randall either, right? Regardless how bad he's played. Yeah.
Randall's writing himself off, man. Like I was hyped on the dude. Like, he won MIP, but this is 3 games in a row. Like that's not,
it's scary.
That's not an accident. Like that, this is looking like a trend. This is looking like something that's becoming a regular occurrence for what we should expect in the playoffs from this guy. Tell me I'm wrong. Like, prove me I'm wrong, Julius. Like, bring your game. You didn't have 3 bad games in a row all season.
The only thing I will say to that is, you know what? I'm not going to completely judge him off of one series. Everybody has bad series, and, RJ's having a terrible series too. I will say, I think a lot of it is just experience. They don't have the experience in the playoffs. I want to see them.
Don't either.
Yeah, I know. That's my only defense for him. Like, I understand. I don't like to leap to conclusions about him after one series. I think going about this guy in his first playoff series played terrible. I think that's a bit much. If a guy plays great in his first playoff series, he's going to be great. I think plenty of guys have terrible first playoff series that still go on to be good. It's not entirely an indicator that they're bad. I want to see one more year. If we make the playoffs next year, he's still on the roster, he still plays bad. That's when I'm going to start to worry. But just on the first series, it's concerning. But I'm not going to give up on him just yet.
That's fair.
Yeah. I remember, I don't know if you guys are Yankees fans, but how far back your memories are. There used to be a player called Chuck Knoblock. He was
Yips.
One of the
Yips.
Yips. Yep. He was one of the best second basemen in baseball. The Yankees traded for him. He was great. I think they acquired him, whatever it is. He was great until crunch time. I think it was the World Series. He could not field or throw. He couldn't throw the ball to first. This is second base. This is the closest distance he could possibly throw to first, and he could not do it. And he never recovered from it. So let's hope this isn't Randall's version of the yips, because if it is, then we're in trouble.
Oh, my thing is this: like, I don't kill people for results. I kill people for like the way they get the results. Like, if he was just like missing the shots that he's been taking all year, you could just say, all right, he's going through a cold stretch, or maybe the minutes has caught up to him. He's tired, blah, 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 blah. The concerning element for me is he is not playing the same way. He's not playing bully ball. He's playing scared. He's turning down shots. There's no passion out there. There's no feistiness. Where's your heart at, man? This is what you play the game for. Like, as a kid, you dream of moments like this to get to the playoffs and make your bones and make your name. What is he doing? He got the crowd chanting overrated. He's tarnishing his name.
All right, so let's try to wrap this sad game up. Coke, you want to give us your scrub of the night?
All right, scrub of the night, man. I gotta go with Frank Ntilikina, man. He played 2 seconds. 2 seconds, 0.03, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, and he couldn't stop Trey in the 2 seconds that he played. Scrub of the night, man.
He missed another one?
I'm joking.
I just
I
saw the
gotta
headband, and that was it.
I gotta troll a little bit. Nah, but
Hey, hang on. So with hang on. So with those 2 seconds tonight, Frank has gone from the worst net rating on the team at negative 100 to even worse at negative 133.3.
you hear that, Slice?
Slice was running from it. He was
Something that's right now.
Nah, but seriously, scrub of the night, man. I've been killing them all, Cass, so it's well earned. Julius Randle, man, 14 points, 2 for 15%. I mean, from the field, sorry, for whatever percent that is. Kyle, if you could throw that out there, 2 for 7
That
from
is
3.
13.3%.
Disgusting. And can you give me his percentage for the series? Like, how awful is that? Is he over 30%? I don't even think he's clear like 35% yet. Whenever you can come with that, I'm not gonna sit and wait for it.
Well, I'm just gonna tell you, he was at 28% before tonight, so I'm gonna assume no.
Yeah, so it's disgusting, man. So like it's beyond scrub of the night. It's like scrub of the nights. Scrub of the series is looking like he's just looking like a goat, and I don't mean greatest of all time. Like, just Julius, wake up, man. Wake up. This is what you play the game for. Get it together. So 5 fouls, but that wasn't even a factor in the real reason why he sat his ass on the bench for like over half of the fourth. It's really a benching and rewarding Obi Toppin for some energetic play. Like I said, Obi's not really lighting it up stats wise, but he's just giving good energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's about time he got rewarded for that. So Julius, man, next game, I hope you step your shit up. Stop playing scared. Get back to playing that New York brand of basketball. Let's turn the series around. As much as I'm bitching and talking smack tonight, it's still not over. It's only 2-1. If we steal one, you steal this next game in Atlanta. And if we handle our business at home, then we got home court advantage back. So, I've seen worse, man. That's the one good thing about being an old head, been around for a while. I've seen teams come back, the Mutombo Nuggets, then they come back from 03, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so crazier things have happened, man. The Knicks, just get it together.
Yeah, they're not done. This, it was an awful game, and we're all down, but the series is not over. Definitely not. So any of you guys on the boards, it's panicking or jumping out the windows, don't do that yet. That's happening, right?
If you have a parachute,
I don't even want to read.
If you have a parachute, feel free to jump out windows if you want. Just remember to open on the way down.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So Coke. So he's at 24% overall for the series.
Ridiculous.
It's not the worst though.
So that's his true shooting percentage. Let me remind the audience: league average is around 57. His true shooting percentage in these 3 games is 36.6. And also, let me remind the audience: Frank Ntilikina's worst true shooting percentage in a season is 41.7%.
Wow.
So let me just do that. And funnily enough, Julius is not the worst does not have the worst true shooting on the Knicks. The worst is Frank at 0 because but the worst who's actually been on the floor when we play offense is Elfrid Payton at 8.5%.
Why am I not surprised?
Yep, that's why I said that's the lowest.
He scored 1 point on 1 free throw.
But the crazy thing is Elfrid sat the whole game, so we can't even blame him for tonight.
No, but I built my brand off of making fun of Elfrid, so I gotta get at least one jab at him. I have been sitting on that 8.5% for 3 days now. It had to come out at some point.
So let me ask you guys: do the Knicks put Payton back?
No.
Okay.
If Tibbs does that, then that's incredibly.
Not.
I don't. That's against his character. I'd say.
I mean, this was the worst game without Elfrid.
Yeah, but Tibbs has shown over his career that he's stubborn. He's kind of resistant to change. He made a change. He's not gonna go back on it this quickly. Payton's out. He's just not gonna. I don't think he's gonna play next game either. I think Tibbs is looking at this well, I made the change. That's it.
And rightfully so. Real talk, barring some kind of injuries at guard or something, guys dropping like flies or something, I don't think he should play another game as a Knick.
Now I'm just
Should be
saying.
it.
Now here's the thing though.
Yep,
If
hear
we
that.
come out and it's an absolute disaster next game, he might rethink it. When he shouldn't, but he might. I don't think there's any chance that if he's made the switch, that he'll switch back.
Fair enough. You don't think there's any?
Also, going back to true shooting percentage, you guys want to know who's right around Randle? Emmanuel Quickly, 36.8% for the series, which is weird, because it feels like he's played better, but when you think about it, he's only had the one good game. Then, RJ Barrett, 42.3. Everyone else is above 56. So arguably our 1, 3, and 4 guys are terrible.
Who's 1 and 2? Rose and Burks, Rose and Noel, Rose and
Well, the way I see, I mean, in terms of like how I see the pecking order, it's like Randle, arguably Rose, then RJ, arguably Quick, arguably Burks. I think they're about the same in terms of like our options.
I meant the true shooting percentage.
Oh, true shooting percentage. Nerlens Noel is at the top at 70.6, which duh.
By the way, we have to shout out to Nerlens. I think he took 12 free throws.
Yep,
That's more than
made
he
10.
had the whole season.
Yeah. Yep.
He's actually been decent shooting the free throws all year, man. I was giving him props to that during the season.
He took so many, right? Was it 12?
Yeah, 12. He had 10 and 12.
Kept it up tonight.
Yep. That's why his true shooting is so high. That and because he only dunks. And then number 2 is Obi, 66.6%. The devil number.
Obi.
Obi is Satan confirmed.
Nah,
I knew we shouldn't have picked him with the 8th.
Obi's been efficient, man. Like I said, the volume of numbers is not anything to write home about, but just watching him play, he's not hurting us at all. He's giving us good minutes, man. Like, I'm pleasantly surprised now. Like I feel good about bringing him back. At one point, I was like, man, let's try to find some kind of sucker who will take him in a deal. But at this point, man, let's see where it goes.
At this point, we might be able to find someone to take him in a deal.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
It depends on the return. So if we get a good return, I'm not gonna take him off the table, but I'm not gonna ain't gonna shop him at this point.
So we're driving him to Portland for Dame, right?
So
load him up in the truck. Let's go.
Yep, I'll drive him myself. Yeah.
Dame all day, every day. But if you're talking sign and trade for Lonzo, no. If you're talking something, a margin. I ain't gonna say marginal, but if you're talking
Malcolm Brogdon,
another role player.
Malcolm Brogdon.
It's got a Malcolm Brogdon. I'm not doing it.
We gotta talk. Yeah, I mean that's.
He's older and
so is Obi.
He's not really he's not really a star. He's a high end role player, man.
Yeah, kind of like some of the other guys did.
No, I can say I've been one of the biggest Obi critics. I think I've been a kind of unfair, a little bit kind of too harsh on him at times. He's been improving at a slow but steady pace, and I'm really happy to see that he's having his best games not only at the end of the season but into the playoffs. He's a decent role player now, and if he continues on that growth curve, you know what? He'll be fine. He'll be okay. So the only thing that I've made my peace with the pick, because the only thing that is that would make it now, in my opinion, a bad pick is if one of the guys taken right after him becomes a star. Like Tyrese Halliburton is a decent player, he's not a star. So as long as Obi can get to that level of good bench player, fringe starter, and Tyrese Halliburton doesn't improve that much and nobody else does, then I'll say, you know what, it's not my favorite pick, but there wasn't much we could do there.
Yeah, but that's all the other picks that Knicks have had, right, at number 8 through the year.
Yeah, but the difference is, there was no Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, there was no Donovan Mitchell, at least not right now. If there is, we'll revisit this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and at the end of the day, if you study the history of the player, he's been a late bloomer his whole life in every regard, at every level. You know what I'm saying? So that bodes well for what we hope to expect if that trend, continues. But even the age thing, I know we joke on it and, we mess around all day, every day with that, but there's no rule that says that, if you don't hit the league by a certain age, you can't excel or you can't be a star. Let's not forget, half of the guys who has, their name hanging from the rafters, they all came in as seniors. So but hang on though. I just want to say, how many of those guys were
not very good at 23. Like a lot of, I'm
Ton
pretty
of
sure
them,
most of those
dog.
guys. No, I'm saying I'm pretty sure a
No,
lot of those
man,
guys
they're
came in and
bugging.
were good. Not like
No,
not like
listen,
that
Kyle,
level. They weren't
stop.
prime.
Stop it, man. You're bugging. Chauncey Billups, man, was shit for like 6 years, dog. And look at what he became. I could go down a list of dudes who came in, not coming in as a freshman, struggle for 5. Look at Steve Nash. Look at a ton of guys, man. Come on, man. You got to be a historian to the game. Don't only think of dudes in your age bracket.
No, I know. I'm saying like I'm pretty sure that most of the guys, if you come in at 23, I'm pretty sure most guys were already like pretty good, like better than Obi.
No,
right
I'm
now.
telling you that
better than Obi. That's what I'm. That's
no,
the
man.
benchmark.
A lot of these dudes were you didn't think anything of them. Go look up some of these players that like we all drool over now, and they're in the Hall of Fame. And a lot of these dudes were bums for a long time.
So what you're saying is
4 years.
So what you're saying is. What you're saying is, you think we should bring back Knox and Frank, right?
No.
We should bring back Dennis Smith.
Because they don't have what do they hang their hat on? Like Frank is supposed to be defense.
Coat rack, probably.
You're stupid, man. But,
Oh man.
I mean, I don't know.
Knox can only shoot.
Yeah,
he can only shoot from one area. Okay, hang on.
Let me
defend. RJ is doing that now.
Let me defend Knox just a little bit. I think there is a good player in him somewhere, but we didn't know Favors the way we developed him, and I don't think he's going to develop here. But I do think that we could have gotten more out of these guys. I think we could have at least developed them a little bit better.
But do you think down the line he'll be like a?
No.
Will he ever make an All-Star game?
No.
Could Obi ever make an All-Star game? Could you
I don't
see
think
that?
so. Nah. No, I don't know. I don't think so.
I could see it, man. I could see if we.
I keep comparing him to Pascal Siakam, right? Siakam in an All-Star team. He did, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like maybe, but again, that depends on I think his growth curve is going to have to be a lot more exponential. Like if he continues at the rate he is, it's going to take him till he's 30 to get to starter level.
Yeah,
so,
but this is you not being able to get past numbers, you damn nerd. Like think about it like this, man. Imagine him with a real point guard who knows how to pass the rock. This dude's finishing ability is actually very good.
Yeah, how many times have I complained this year that we don't play to Obi's strength? We're not good at it. I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, like,
so
I don't know. I think
growth curve issue. It's a team construction issue. So if we surround him with better personnel, he can break out.
The thing that he's going to need to improve on, number one, is shooting. He needs to become a much better shooter.
True.
So I think he needs to do that, number one. Number two, if he wants to be an all-star, he needs to be able to create for himself. He can't just be catching lobs and scoring it. So that's why I say I don't think he can be an all-star because I haven't seen much of that skill set from him. Now, could he be a very productive player on a good team? Yeah, he absolutely could. I think especially when you watch him play, his defense has been a lot better than I thought it would be coming out. So he can definitely.
It's still not elite,
hold on. So the skill set at Dayton, though, with creating his own shot.
A little bit, yeah. Again.
I mean, I think.
But the thing is, like, you watch him at Dayton, and a lot of that is, he was able to thrive as the center in, essentially a small ball lineup. I don't think you can really get away with that as much in the NBA. I know Sham keeps talking about, a couple of years you can train his shot blocking to be as good as Noel's, but we've seen the limits of Noel, and Obi's shorter than him. So, again, like I said,
I'm not saying that.
Yeah. Again, like I said, I'm open to being proven wrong. I was proven very wrong about Randle. So I like to look at it as what does he need to do to get to that level? What Obi needs to do, work on his 3-point shooting. We need to get him a point guard, and he needs to get some sort of handle. He needs to get like a handle, some sort of like post-up game. Because right now, if you give him the ball, there's not much he can do with it. He'll take a dribble and pass it basically. If he can work on his athleticism, because he's very athletic, he's very fast. If he can work on that, he could have a pretty good face-up game. Like if he has to shoot a shot, he can pump fake, get guys to close in, and then just go right past him. But he needs to work on his handle. That's really
offensively. offensively, we were getting caught up in the whole Amari thing just because of the posture and the way he looks, but I actually think it's the teammate, man. He could be an offensive Sean Marion. I'm not talking about defense, so I don't want nobody going crazy about what I just said. I'm talking about offensive. Athleticism, catches you off guard with some passing ability. Unorthodox shot
Yeah.
that if he refines it, maybe he could be a knock down the corner three. Things like that. Not the biggest guy, but can still play power forward. I see a lot of Sean Marion qualities in him offensively.
Offensively. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the problem with Obi is honestly, this is the worst situation he could possibly have been drafted into. Which is my take on
Yeah.
it. Out of every team, right, between Randall becoming Randall, and basically, he was drafted initially to be the guy at power forward, right? Because I don't think the Knicks trusted Randall heading into the season. Then Randall became MIP, and Obi really got phased out too. His style of play is for up tempo with a great point guard, not slowest pace with Randall, right? Playing the same position. And then you throw in New York City, where he's from. I'm sure he's feeling pressure all over the place. So this really was the worst situation for him. Not the best by any means. I don't think there's any other situation that would have been worse for him,
Yeah,
honestly.
and I think you hit the big point that I didn't even mention. The main thing that's going to be blocking him is whether or not him and Randall can ever coexist on court.
Right.
If Tibbs will even let them try, because as long as Randall's here, as long as Randall's playing like an all-star, you got to give the guy 36 minutes a night. So that's really putting a cap on Obi's minutes ceiling.
Unless Obi can become like Sean Marion.
Yeah,
Right?
Unless Obi can learn, unless we can play Obi and Randall together and not get killed. That's just things that partially out of control, partially in his control.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like I said, I'm not looking at this like oh, he definitely will. Looking at this is what he needs to do to get to that level. Can he do it? Maybe. I don't know. But that's what he needs to do. That's his limitations. Just like how when I talk about RJ and his limitations, what he needs to do to get to that next level, to where he is that shot creating wing who can be a number one option, is he needs to get a better handle. He needs to be able to work on his pull-up game, and he needs to be able to finish around the rim. Those are the areas that he needs to work. And if he can fix those holes, he will be an all-star. He will be one of those guys who can carry a team deep into playoffs. But whether or not he can get to them, I don't know. I think he can. I do think he can. And that's why, we have that thread, would you rather have RJ or Ja? I still say RJ because I think he can fix those issues better than Ja can fix his issues that are going to stop him from taking that next step.
I mean, look, man, he turned himself into a 40% shooter in 1 year, so that bodes well for his ability to develop weaknesses into strengths. So let's just hope going forward, he works on some explosiveness, some more ball handling, and also, we don't talk about it, but I think he needs to work on his body as well. And people don't say it, but to me, I feel like
absolutely.
he can lose a little bit of weight, man.
He's got to get stronger in his.
I
his
feel
legs.
personally attacked by that.
He's top heavy.
God.
It's like a pile. What did you say?
You missed it. He said, "I feel personally attacked by that."
I'm working on it, man.
Because I said he needs to work on his weight.
Obi needs. I think Obi needs to work on his lower body, his strength, his core. He's top heavy. He was top heavy even at Dayton, and that was one of the concerns coming out of the draft is that he can get pushed around. So he's got to get stronger in his legs, and like you guys said, he's got to be able to be able to put the ball on the floor a little bit, to be able to do something with it. Yep. All right. So let's wrap it up. Coke, you want to give your final thoughts?
We said a lot tonight, so I'm kind of at a loss. Usually, I always have something that I save.
Yeah.
I'll just go with this, man. I'm gonna wing it. Must-win game. You can't go down 3-1. You just can't. At that point, you're writing your own obituary. It's looking very bleak if that happens. So the Knicks got to come out in Atlanta. They got to take that game, regain some momentum, and go home and hope they get rejuvenated by the Garden crowd. And part of my final thoughts, let me just throw this out there. You two let me know if you disagree or if you agree. I feel like that Hawks home crowd is whack as ever. Like, you got 16,000 in the building, and that's the loudest y'all could get. Like, to me, it seemed dead in there. Like that, like it's nothing like the Garden anyway, but that's just more confirmation. I thought, with this new generation, Atlanta's like, the shit as far as like the whole hip hop circuit, music, fashion, money. But really, it just seemed like any old arena to me. It was nothing special about it at all. So that was just something I caught.
It's better than Brooklyn.
That's true too. I'll give them that.
Yeah, they don't got to give away the tickets. I don't know. To that point, when I was listening to it, I get what you're saying. It felt like a pretty normal arena. It didn't feel like the Garden did. But I mean, in the second half, I had my air conditioner on, so I couldn't hear anything, anyways.
That'd be good.
But yeah. But my final thoughts is, I'm pretty optimistic about this next game. I think we bounced back great after the game 1 loss. I think we can bounce back again, especially with no Alfred. I think that's going to be a big key. Other than that, I gotta say, I'm just kind of happy that I got to actually come on this one and talk for a bit. It's been kind of building up over the last couple months. I really had to get this out. I enjoy just popping in, stirring up shit, and making jokes, but it is nice to just like let it out every once in a while.
Hey man, you telling me you're gonna make Jim walk the plank? Go ahead, say it, man. Throwing hints out there.
Wait, why Jim?
I don't know, man. I just threw the first name out there. Jim, don't take it personal, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Kyle's trying to steal your spot.
Well, we do need Slice because I need someone to,
Nobody wants to host, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that, and because I need someone to poke fun at. It's just so easy to get him going sometimes. It's fun.
Yeah.
Doing it more often, man.
Well, yeah, let's close this out. I mean, it was just a suck of a game. But yeah, it's not over. Next game is, they need to block this out. It's just another game. I think the Knicks have shown they can do that. So you take the loss and you play another game. Hopefully they come back and tie the series. Once you tie it, it's a 3-game series. Right? It starts from scratch. So yeah, and the Knicks played poorly. It was Derrick Rose 1-on-5 most of the night. They lost 105-94, and really wasn't as close as the score indicates. Hawks up 2-1. That's the wrap up. We'll catch you all.
Wait, more. Hold on.
Hmm?
I'm out of character right now, but I gotta say this.
Absolutely.
I kind of hope we lose because I want to see you get mad. I feel like you're never gonna get mad. Like you're like one of the calmest dudes I've ever been around. So I want to see you lose your shit one day, bro.
Oh yeah, that actually might be good. If they lose, I might lose it. But yeah. So yeah, that's it. Next game.
It's no blood, no foul. It's no blood, no foul. Crying for calls, we took your morale. Congratulations till we run that clock out. MSG to Mecca, this is our house. NYC forever when we mob out. See that kid drip, got that clock cloud.